church family. It's Wednesday and it's time for another Wednesday Minister Moment. You know, a lot has happened over the last week and a half or so since the unjust death of Mr. Floyd. And through all of that, there's been a lot of protest. There's been looting. There's been rioting. There's an anger that's expressed, sorrow that's expressed, grief that has been expressed, confusion even, a lot of heartache. And I've tried to spend time listening. I know some who have gone to the protests. I have some friends who have gone. And I've listened to their accounts and their feelings related to it and their own frustration and anger. I've tried to listen to those who have suffered injustices, who have suffered those in the past, but even are suffering them now. I've tried to listen to the pain and the heartache, the apprehension that they feel, the frustration that they feel. In doing this and in sharing this with you, this is not an attempt to try to give you or maybe fully address the problem that we have in our country of racism. I just want to share with you that I'm trying to listen to people's hearts and where they're coming from, because I think it's important for us to do that. I can't tell you that I understand it all, but I do, as I'm listening to these things, I want to remind you of something. In Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 27, Scripture tells us that we have all been created in God's image. All of us. Men and women, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever nationality someone might come from, they have been created in God's image. Whether they believe in God or they don't believe in God, they've still been created in God's image. Whether they have been somebody who's lived a good life or a life of heartache and trouble or maybe even evil that they've created themselves, all of us have been created in God's image. That's just how it is. God has created all of us to be His children. And I think it's important for us to remember that as we look at one another, as we listen to one another, as we try to bring healing through all of this. And if God, the one who created us in His image, was willing to humble Himself to such an extent to come to this earth and be born as a child, to live His life through the life of Jesus, and in essence, see things from our perspective, hear with our ears and with our own hearts. And even though I know that God really understood us already, He was the one who created us, but He's shown us that He was willing to come and walk in our shoes and hear us, to listen to us. If God was willing to do that through Jesus, then shouldn't we be willing to listen to one another? Shouldn't we be willing to see things through the eyes of others? To seek to have empathy for the situations that they've dealt with? Shouldn't we, as people who call ourselves the children of God, who have been born into Christ, shouldn't we be people who listen to the hearts of others who may not look like us, so that we can have a perspective of understanding? Shouldn't we listen to their fears and their frustrations and their struggles? You know, Ray Hall, one of our members here at Western Heights, posted, I think it was a letter that Tony Dungy former coach, the Indianapolis Colts, put out. And he talked about a lot of different things with regard to race relations, but he ends his letter with a verse in Romans chapter 12, verse 21, that says this: "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Some may ask, what do we need to do? I don't know what we need to do exactly. I don't have the answers for all of that. But I do know that if you don't know where to start, a good thing to do is to start by listening. Let's listen. And as we listen, let's learn. And as we learn, let's seek to overcome evil with good. Have a blessed Wednesday.